Hello, good evening. My name is Viviana Ospina. I am a student of the master's program, and this particular course is Language Curriculum Development. I am working on the final activity, and this part of the task, we need to work on some presentation of different activities that we did throughout the course. So first, I'm going to talk a little bit about how the process was carried out, and then I will present some final solutions to try and overcome the problems that I found based on the research and the reading that I did. And I will continue with some reflections about the process, and also I'm going to talk a little bit about how this research process has helped me and contributed to my abilities for the master's program. So first of all, I was called upon my knowledge to try and remember what I had in mind about curriculum and how language curriculum development was going about, because at first we had to do some type of insight reflection. So this led us to embrace different readings that we had to approach, where different authors presented their ideas about curriculum development and theories, as well as philosophical trends and different methodologies to work on language teaching. So once we did this, we were able to identify, or I was able to identify, a specific problem in a curriculum or in the educational space. So by doing that, I was trying to think about how ever since that school started, there was always a discussion about curriculum and its implementation, and the role that it had between the students and the teachers and also the administrators and all the people or all the actors involved in this process. So this brought many questions to mind, and we need to think about curriculum development and implementation as ongoing process. I thought at the beginning, wrongfully, that a curriculum was set and that was it. But now I think that the curriculum it's a continuous process which needs to take into account the different actors. So there are different positions about this topic in particular, and some of which have been a curriculum designed by a teacher and the learners, to one that has been designed by high-level specialists who decide what students should learn. And this interchange has often been linked to the aims of education, methodologies, like I said, approaches, and teaching methods as well. So this reflection conveys the relationship between curriculum development and the intervening parties in the language teaching learning process. So I believe that educational institutions present issues with regards to this topic, and here is where I found the particular problem. I believe that educational institutions and the actors that are in there do present problems when it comes to the implementation of a curriculum, because sometimes the teachers have the mindset that the curriculum is a set of content and not seen as an ongoing educational process. So maybe that was one of the problems that I thought that it could be viable. Now, continuing on a little bit, it is important to think about curriculum development and its implementations of any teaching and learning methods to attain a satisfactory outcome, not only for the students and the teachers, but also the institution. So if the institution has the goals that are well oriented, that are well planned, therefore the teachers can do their job and benefit the students. So it's kind of a link type of thing. So if it doesn't begin well, then eventually the students are the ones who are going to be a little bit lacking there. So in all the research that was done through this process, there was something that I found where the curriculum is the core of the whole educational process, since it becomes a guidance for achieving the educational goals. And this was argued by Sukmadinata, and so I believe now through this very enriching process that this is it. It is important to think of the curriculum as the core of the whole educational process, which in turn will have excellent benefits for the students, who are always and should be always the most important actor in this process. So in order to create and implement a successful curriculum, it becomes necessary to take into account the actors, like I said. So within this construct of an implementation of a curriculum, this opportunity should be understood in the different positions from the different actors in the educational system. So if we think about language teaching, these programs are usually implemented to attend to the students' needs, thus keeping their own identity and environment as a teaching-learning environment. So when Morris observes schools are organizations and they develop a culture, ethics, or environment which might be favorable or unfavorable to encouraging change and the implementation of innovations. So it is important that when we think of curriculum, we think of the culture, the context, and the environment of the students, so that this curriculum can be well developed by the students and the teachers, of course. So continuing on, another issue that I thought it was important, and it is important to mention, is that some institutions they have difficulties while implementing or creating a new curriculum. And this little problem may be the lack of commitment from not only the teachers but also the administratives. Why? Because some teachers still have the thought or the mindset that the curriculum is only a paper, and that's what it's for. It's only a paper to be there because it needs to be done, and that's it. While they should think about it as a life, as an important part, as the core, like I had mentioned before. So the institutions, I believe, should provide opportunities for teachers to develop their professional knowledge and skills. This is another part that the institutions are failing to do. They're not really helping the teachers to get better. They're just telling them, do this and do that, but they're not trying to give them the opportunity to improve. Such opportunities can be provided through conference participation, workshops, and in-service seminars. Maybe even peer observation from one teacher to another. There's so much to learn from one another, and really teachers should get into that sense that researching and learning from others will really help them. And finally, taking into account all the different instances in which education in languages has evolved, is taking big steps towards evolution. First, I can mention that the theory of curriculum has allowed the teacher to be less dependent on a specific methodology, as well as autonomy. Although sometimes this shift has implied a little bit of more responsibilities, and this part sometimes may be a little difficult, but if we teachers think of the curriculum as the map towards the benefit of the students, then the educator is bound to participate in reading a lot of resources, in searching information with other teachers to finding better and more important ways to contribute to this process. So teachers should be expected to join some trainings and workshops. They should be allowed to work in their teaching skills. They should be allowed to cover other methods, to try new material, so that they're not obliged to be in one particular space with an approach or a methodology. So going back to the reflections upon my work in this process, I think that it was very valuable, that there was a lot of reading to do, there was a lot of learning to do, there is still a lot of learning to do, and I think that I learned a lot from Richard's reading his approaches, his thoughts, and his ideas of how teachers need to be moving all the time really call my attention. Call my attention that we teachers need to continuously contribute towards the benefit of our students, and curriculum development is an excellent opportunity for us to make the best of the tools that we have available. Thank you very much for listening, and you have a good day.